Having a sibling with autism or a disability can bring challenges for teens. WIFR reporter Bria Walters talks with the Superhero Center for Autism about its new support group for these siblings.
This gives them that opportunity to create something that's just really about them.
The Superhero Center for Autism offers support, education, and resources to nearly 600 members.
It's a judgment-free space for kids to play and have fun in their own way. We also offer a lot of opportunities for just regular things that families take for granted.
Though the center has support groups for parents and younger children, 13-year-old Lena Marquez noticed there wasn't a resource for teens.
I remember when I was younger, I had a group to go to all the time, but you age out of that. And then there's not really any group for like teenagers and up, because I only remember there being like a parents group. There's never ever like a sibling group.
Superhero Center for Autism President Kelly Dinsmore says teens with siblings who have special needs may feel out of control. Among Friends is meant to support them through that.
Have really spent a large majority of their life kind of having to be flexible with someone else in their family and really kind of give up a lot. And like Lena mentioned, I think that this age group really has not had that support system.
The group, organized by Marquez, is meant to help teens have fun and create long-lasting friendships with others who have similar experiences.
The whole goal with this project to give people that welcoming space among friends, and like if we don't do that, then there's like no point.
In Loves Park, Bria Walters, WIFR News.
Teens interested in joining the group or being a leader can visit the Superhero Center's website. The First Among Friends meeting will be a paint and sip March 16th at the Superhero Center.